Garrett J. White, the authentic entrepreneur, coming at you real, coming at you raw, and coming at you relevant. And this, my friends, is the Daily Download. Today we're going to focus on principle number 2 in the Pay to Play Academy, and this principle is a doozy, and that is that our permission activates our potential. Meaning permission in and of itself activates our potential. But just like we do every download, guess what we need to bring out? The handy dandy, no, not notebook, the flip chart. So let's bring it on. Bring it with me. Bring it with me. Here it comes. All right. Man, it works every single time. It's amazing what you can do with video these days, huh? So let's jump into this principle then. Permission activates potential. See, there's 2 forms of permission slips that you and I get to experience day to day. One of those permission slips comes from us, and the other permission slip comes from other people. But if we put both those aside, let's bring some relevance to this idea, and let's talk about permission, and let's talk about potential. Permission is giving us the ability to act, the ability to be, the ability to have. One of the games that existed for me is that I was raised in a situation where I had very little money. My parents didn't make much money. None of my friends very much money. My cousins, aunts, and uncles didn't make much money. I mean, people just didn't make much. If you made at least $50,000, you were the upper echelon of the family. Well, that was radically different than the family that I married into. Family I married into, that was like below in the basement. The ceiling of potential was millions. And it was a very different game because I'd never given myself permission to make money. And I'd never given myself also permission to be me. Out of a lot of abuse and trauma of my past, I started to create these ways of being that were not giving me permission. Notice that I say that I was not giving me permission. It wasn't that I was waiting for you, yet oftentimes this is what we start to sit around for. We wait for our spouse to tell us it's okay. We wait for our church to tell us it's okay. We wait for the government to tell us it's okay. We wait for our neighbors to be in alignment with us, or we wait for our children to say it's okay, or our parents to say it's okay, when at the end of the day, there is only one permission slip that has any power in your life, and it's the permission slip to activate your potential, and that permission slip comes from you. It doesn't come from me. But at times we have to activate what I call borrowed light. We could replace that word light with permission. See, in high school, we didn't have to do it in high school, but when I was in elementary school, I was kind of a screw-off. I know that's hard to believe. But in elementary school, I was a kid who had to get a slip signed at the end of the week that said I was good. If I brought that slip home to my mother and the teacher said I was a good boy, I got to play for the weekend. If I didn't, I spent the weekend in my room. Harsh, right? Well, yeah, my parents used to spank me too. I guess we don't do that anymore either. But nonetheless, in that space, I would have to come home with a permission slip. The permission slip was the opinion of my teacher on whether I had been a good boy or I had been a bad boy. The consequence of that permission was that I was a bad boy, I was in my room. If I was a good boy, I wasn't in my room. That permission came from my teacher, right? But permission in our lives, we don't have to wait for someone else to give us permission. Oftentimes in business or in spiritual power, people are waiting in their sole purpose for someone else to give them permission. Well, guess what? Merry Christmas. Here's permission from me. Permission to what? Permission to be the truth of who you are. Because it's only in that place, only living in that power, only living in that potential that you will truly experience what it is to live. Henry David Thoreau said this. Most men and women live lives of quiet desperation and go to the grave with their songs still in them. And why? My experience? Because they never gave themselves permission to live fully. Today, I'd love to have you chime in down below. Share with what's up in your mind about this idea of permission and getting it from others and getting it from yourself and how permission ultimately activates your potential. This is Garrett J. White, and this has been the Daily Download.